I mean, unless you want to get into R values and things like that, and those walls and your insulation in your basements. I don't know how much of that stuff you want to cover. You have the heating side covered, but I don't know how much you want to talk about res checks.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time.
Okay.
Lower door tests and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's a fun one. We'll save that for another time.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd consider it fun.
Oh man,
Alex thinks it's more entertaining than anything.
I love it.
Well, I would love to talk about Central House fans and why I feel they are ridiculous. But
why do you? Okay, go. I'm not gonna stop you.
Well, it's just it's creating a negative pressure in the house, and we've talked about it several times, and the whole thing that they're wanting is to every time you open the front door or a window, it pulls in the fresh air from outside. But
okay, you got to back up. If you're gonna go down this path, you got to back up and explain where you're at. Even
what?
You're down in the rabbit hole already. Show us the entrance.
Yeah, why are they wanting that? I guess.
Well, they're wanting it to pull fresh air into the house.
Well, I know, but
it creates a negative.
I'm going back
further.
Why did we get to the point where they were wanting a negative pressure in the house?
Because the houses are being done so tight with insulation now that air cannot get into the house. Right. So the envelope of the house is so tight that air cannot get in. So now some states, Michigan, I believe it's a code to put a central fan in to where it runs constantly. So then it creates a negative pressure in the house.
Well, it's code to control your air. And one method to do that is what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, this is just one method that we offer as a code.
Yeah.
But it just creates that negative pressure in the house. You open the windows and it pulls in fresh air. But what we've always talked about is majority of the homes are going to have a garage built onto the gable end or wherever the utility room door is. So that door is really the one being opened all the time. So it's pulling the gas fumes from your lawnmower or paint that's been opened or something like that that's in your garage into your house. So it's actually creating more negatives than anything, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the way our third party explained to us is, so in the 50s, they'll compare health from the 1950s to the 2000s. And if you look at indoor air quality, it's gotten worse because we continued to make the energy codes more and more strict. So now we're getting to the point where we're making houses so tight that people, I don't know if they don't have the common sense to open up a window or whatever the case might be.
I don't want to open up my windows in the middle of winter.
I
don't want to open my windows in the middle of winter. I can't see the flu virus. I'm not like, oh, it's getting fluey in here. I better open up my windows.
Well, what upsets me is the government forces us to do this kind of, like, you have to put in, in 2015 IECC states, you have to put in some kind of air exchange system or some kind of method to get fresh air into the house. Some kind of fresh air intake. There's other manufacturers that are doing some hillbilly ways of doing that. Including us. Frankly, we do a hillbilly way. We offer a hillbilly way. We don't recommend it. The bottom line is they're wanting good air in the house.
Damn it, Tyler.
Alex just puts his head down. Well, it is what it is. It is
I
what it
would argue
is.
that we offer a simple, very affordable answer to a regulation that can get very complex and expensive. And this goes back to a conversation I had with Evan Gottschalk when he was here, and I got on a soapbox about affordability. Is this country needs affordable housing, right? But we also, apparently, everyone needs to have a house that has so little air exchange because it's built so tight that we have to bring in fresh air. Now we've got to pay to bring in fresh air. Our answer is to add a whole house vent fan that runs all the time and creates negative pressure, and then when you open a door, you get fresh air into your house at a faster rate than you would at a normal, just passive pressure rate. And unfortunately, to Jesse's point, most people open their utility door first, and it brings in the air that your car has been sitting in and possibly ran in for a minute while it warmed up.
Which goes back to my point, it's the shitty system.
It's not the best system out there, but the alternative is a very expensive air exchanger
$600 system.
So we need homeowners to be cognizant of the fact that when there's a negative pressure building up in their house, they need to, like you say, open a window or the front door, and that's hard to remember or to know about. Luckily, in my case, my dog opens my front door and goes outside, and I get fresh air.
Yeah, more government regulation.
Right, and it's creating affordability issues.
Yep, that's all it is.
But feather in our cap, our house, without changing any way we built as the codes caught up, was testing.
Oh, absolutely.
Incredibly well. So what's 2015 IECC say as far as?
But they're testing well, but a lot of it, in all fairness, has to do with the on-site builder. The ones that are testing, because
two things have to do with that: sealing up the mainline properly with foam, and sealing up your box sill with foam.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Making sure you're not having air leakage. Yeah.
Yeah. Control your air leakage between the seam of the house touching the foundation, which is where your box sill's at,
yep.
and control the marriage line, which is our only possible penetration of air because of all the blockaging that we do. We caulk on our walls, we spray foam our receps, we put in a heavy amount of insulation.
Yeah, for the record, I don't think if you took the caulk away from underneath your walls, I don't think you'd see a difference. But
no point in testing. It's cheap, it's quick,
yeah,
and we're testing well, so there's no point in trying that out, right? I want to hear you say it. I want to get it on record.
I'm not going to say.
The question I asked was 2015 IECC requirement is less than how many air exchanges?
5? Is it 5? I don't know.
I thought it was 7. So like right now in Indiana,
I have no idea.
If Indiana is enforcing codes, in my understanding, they're enforcing you have to have less than 10 air changes per hour.
I don't even what IECC are we on in Indiana?
I don't even know, to be honest with you, but the Builders Association that we are a part of talks about 10.
Is it 10?
That's what they talk about. So if they're being tested, it's less than 10. Some site builders are struggling to get down there because they don't have, we build backwards. We put our drywall on first and our OSB on second. So we have the ability to look at the building envelope from the outside and go through and seal up all the penetrations. We fireproof caulk or fireproof spray foam, potentially every penetration to the building envelope. Whereas a site builder puts their OSB on first to get out of the rain, then they go inside and put their drywall on second, so they don't have a chance to get behind that recept. So like if you're a site builder,
the recept, they put the receps on in the drywall.
Right, but they don't have a chance to get behind.
Yeah, they don't have
that.
a chance to put the foam around the actual box.
It's not as easily accessed, and so a lot of times, in my understanding, it doesn't happen. So, like if you go to plug in your vacuum, in a
it's not as easy.
House, you have more likelihood to have air.
I can see it.
Through that outlet.
That argument. If you have a 6-inch wall and you put a recept on,
how many site builders are using 6-inch exterior walls?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, the argument. If people take the time, they can foam it. I'm not trying to.
It hasn't been a focus,
right? No, I agree.
Until it's been a regulated focus. Where in our industry, we've been able to focus on it because it's right there in front of us. It's very easy to do.
Well,
so, again, without changing,
and because it's not, and because we have to build throughout the Midwest. If we built in Rochester, Indiana, the regulations aren't as strict.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Versus if you go over to Champaign, I know that he deals with that all the time with blower door tests and making sure the house is tight. I think a lot of it, that's part of the benefit of us is you're going to take, something that we have found in a different region that a local inspector is looking at, and we're going to have to apply that to our entire product because we're running a assembly line. Everything's got to be somewhat similar.
Yeah, which I argue is a benefit.
I would say it's an absolute benefit.
Yeah, people in Indiana are getting the benefit that Illinois is highly regulated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think 10 air exchanges per hour in our area, maybe, if it's being tested at all. 7, we think, in Michigan, Iowa, again, if it's being tested at all. NAHB says between 1 and 3. And to be clear, you have to be above 1 or highly control your airflow. Like if you're in a passive house situation or something, you want to get down below 1, you've got to You got to regulate your airflow. Otherwise, you're gonna get sick all the time, which is what you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in the dry winter air, when your furnace or your heat pump or your mini ductless system is heating your house, the flue has a chance to float.
Yeah,
whereas in humid summer air, theoretically, the flue is weighed down by water vapor molecules and goes to the floor, and you just step on it. That's the theory there. So you got to keep it in our instance where we're not building passive houses or net zero energy houses yet. We got to be between 1 and 3 according to the NHB. And Chuck from Champaign, who tests our houses himself, is telling us that we come in at 2.5 with his addition of spray foaming the mate wall and spray foaming
the box cell.
2.5.
Does he go down below grade? Does he go down below grade on the
with the spray foam?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. He's always just said box cell to me.
From my understanding, the biggest air leakage is going to be from the grade up to the wall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In our houses.
Yeah. Because you can get wind pressure against it.
Yeah, because we're already at a 6-inch wall with R21, so that's handled. It's just below that. That's why I say a lot of it, has to do with the on-site thing. I know when you do a res check and you leave that, if you're 16 inches above grade, so you have the 26 total inches with your box seal. If you leave that R value out, it highly affects your res check.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Versus even just taking your R21 and your walls down to an R19.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, because there's a seam there too. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about why there's tightness. Some people would argue it's over-regulation, which is burdening the affordability index on American housing.
Yeah, no, I'd argue that.
I can agree with you there.
Yeah.
So anyways, we talked about why they're tight. So then to get back to your original point, Jesse, now that they're tight, control the air. And our method is either whole house vent fan that you were talking about, which is basically a constantly running bathroom fan. But it's installed in your living room potentially.
Central house, yeah.
Yeah. It's not the old whole house vent fans that I referenced earlier, which were like 3 feet by 3 feet, and you turn it on, and
Well, that's an attic. You're just talking about that's just getting hot air out in the summertime, isn't it?
Yeah.
An attic fan.
Attic fan.
Yeah. They have real weird restrictions too. Like I forgot how I should have brought the code book to show you how it was actually referred to as. Like,
that would have been a lot of fun.
It was like every 4 hours. There's a formula for it, so you can put it on a switch. So more than likely, people are going to turn that switch off because they're going to get sick of hearing it.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm sure people are doing is you hear that fan running all day long, you just go shut it off, and then boom, you're outside of the code, but no one's inspecting you, and you don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious how it's wrote. It's just like, so you put on a switch, but it's supposed to run like based off your square footage every 4 hours or whatever. 4 hours on, 4 hours off.
It does help get moisture out though. Like if you're getting condensation on your windows, you should be running your whole house fan more.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Well, I don't remember what CFM, 80 CFM on that? Or
I don't know. All I know is like I can't stand the sound of them. I can't stand it. Like
they're pretty. The ones we use aren't like extremely loud.
Just the sound bothers me. It's kind of like having your microwave venting while you're cooking. Just like you might as well be screaming in my ears. I just hate it.
Yeah.
And God forbid I hear a blow dryer.
I just wonder. We haven't had any complaints on the ones we use. I wonder how long it's going to take that you actually have somebody running them. Eventually, that fan I feel like is going to get off balance, just like in the old bath fan.
Oh yeah.
And you're just going to hear for the whole entire day. It's like, well, I'm going to turn that off and never turn it on again.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't even have to get to that point. I would just turn it off right away.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that. You made that comment that it actually takes some of the moisture out of the house, because this time of year we get a lot of complaints about condensation on the windows. Is that correct?
Because our houses are so tight.
Yeah.
People
So
are used to it,
let's.
especially if you moved out of Grandma and Grandpa's farmhouse.
I was just out at a house, and they were pointing out how there was moisture around the windows brought it to Tyler and kind of talked to him, but I think Tyler explains it the best. It's pretty much just like a pop can in the summer, right? A cold pop can, you take it out, there's condensation on the outside.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have that because your house is warm
You don't say
inside.
pop. No, you just
It's got to be a beer can.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bush Light.
so you take your bush
drinks
latte.
pop in the
Bush,
summertime?
woo!
Take your bush latte out of your cold fridge.
I just want to point out that Kyle Busch is Tyler's favorite race car driver,
Let's just get back on track here.
and I won because
So-
I took Kyle Busch last week again.
So to paint a picture, you guys are outside in your cutoffs, and Tyler's has number 18 on it, and you're winning the race because you bet on number 18 actually. And Tyler pulls out his cold Bush latte and sets it on the hot patio table, and it starts to sweat. Go from there.
Well, it starts to sweat because it is cold and it's warm outside. Therefore, the coldness from the inside the Busch Light tries to get out, and that is what creates a condensation on the outside of the can. So, therefore, it's just
It's
the same
that,
way
but
with,
in reverse.
Yeah.
It's that reversed.
right.
The cold
It's
air
that.
outside of our homes is cooling the water vapor that is floating around inside your very tightly built house to the point that it's turning from a vapor into a liquid, and it does so on the surface of your window.
Correct.
And you need to be running your fans more. Mm-hmm. Like for hours after you shower. Your bath fans should run.
Yeah,
You should never see water or fog on your mirror, right?
Every day.
You should.
Well, if you're on a
fans not
normal
shut.
whole bathroom and you're running a 40 or let's say you're running a 50 CFM fan, and you take a hot shower, I think that's impossible. Like to not have that. So the answer is to either up your CFM fans, which nobody wants to pay the money for, you know,
They're annoying to listen to.
or just like you said, just running for a lot longer.
Man, I'm pretty sure mine's 200, and it's right above the shower.
200
It's-
CFM.
Yeah,
It's like a turbine.
It's a
in your
beast.
ceiling.
That can't be right.
It's a beast. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Jesse's
Well,
got
you don't
a,
have to do your hair in the morning.
yeah.
Just spray it once it's standing on it.
There's no.
It's dry by the time I get out.
There's no way that it's 200.
He's got a 12
I
inch
can't.
12-inch pipe.
I'm
It's got to sound like a jet when it
positive on
starts
that
up.
number, but
I'm
What?
Googling 200 CFM.
Are you going to
fans.
Brown? Just go to Brown's website.
Yeah.
it's
okay.
a brown.
That can't be right.
Yeah, Christy's hair in the morning has to be straight up. When
And
she's
you
doing
would
it.
never see water on your mirror.
Well,
Or
I'm just
fog.
stating that I have a bigger fan than normal, and it still fogs up. And the
Is
bathroom
it a fan only or a fan with light?
fan with light. And the bathroom's a fairly big bathroom,
Yeah.
and it's still.
It still fogs up?
Mm-hmm.
See, my bathroom, I got a little 40
150
CFM.
is the highest that I can find
Okay, well then it's 150,
on drones. And there's
and it's round. It's like this big.
1.4 Sonus, which is the sound rating.
And it's
right?
fairly quiet. So
Compared to 200 CFM, yeah, airplane turbine.
that airplane wouldn't get off the ground.
Where were we? How did we get here? What were we talking about?
The airplane wouldn't get off the ground.
Get it?
That's funny.
How did we get here? We're talking about water, vapor, whole house influence is how we got here. So, the cheap and easy way to control your air is to run a whole house vent fan. That's going to kick air outside, create negative pressure. You bring fresh air in whenever you open a door or window. Open your front door before you open your garage door.
Exactly.
The other way to do it is an air handler. Mm-hmm. Where you have a whole nother device hooked to your HVAC system that is a little expensive.
Well, I mean, how much? Like $600, aren't they? I don't think they're like crazy.
I think it depends on what you buy, obviously, but air handler, just quick Google search returns no information that's helpful.
I guess I don't know a whole lot about that. Is that something that is like put on a gauge to where it gets to a level and it kicks on itself?
Yeah, and you do it by the number of people that are living in your house. So I want to say that like for every person that's in the house, you do like 50, like whatever the setting is. And frankly, I don't even know what it is, but I just remember somebody at IBS 2 years ago in the what's the area where they're like doing the energy efficiency stuff? I went through this year.
Like the DuPont area where they did the motor door test.
Tyvek stuff. Yeah. Anyways, the guys from construction and instruction are talking about like, best practices in building, energy efficiency, that kind of stuff. And they were saying like, yeah, you take each person in your house. So this guy had 5 people in his house, so he set it to whatever, 250. So it's sucking in fresh air. Imagine a box, and inside that box is an X. And it's sucking in fresh air through the top right of the X, and it's putting that fresh air back into your HVAC system through the bottom left of your X. And the top left of your X is pulling air out of your house, dirty air out of your house, and the bottom right of the X is kicking that air outside. So the pressure in your house stays the same, but you get clean air. You can control where the air comes in from. You can control where that vent is at. And
that's just going out, pulling out through returns, just return airs.
Yeah, it's taking air from the inside of your house through return airs,
I gotcha.
And that return air runs through this air handler first before it gets to your furnace.
Yeah.
And the air handler chooses to kick some of that air outside and leave some of it into your furnace system. So then instead of pulling in, like in my scenario, I would be, opening my front door and I'm getting totally cold air, and then my house takes a while to recondition that air, especially in a heat pump technology where I'm not blowing out 125 degree air. So it takes a while to get warm again. In this scenario, you're pulling in fresh air. You're partially conditioning it by running it through that X system. Now, they're not touching, so you're not dirtying up the air, but they're 2 ducts that are next to each other, and they run next to each other for a moment, for some time, and that air gets partially heated up, let's say in the winter, and then when it hits your furnace doesn't have to work so hard to heat it up. So energy efficiency is still good, and you're getting all the fresh air that you want. Air handlers.
You didn't see a cost?
No.
Interesting. Yeah.
No. As usual, I got distracted by my own voice. Did we cover what you want to talk about, Jesse?
Yep.
We got down the rabbit hole with you. That's what you wanted.
Yep. We're good to go. I just wanted to kind of point that out, the whole moisture thing and condensation, because I feel that we get a lot of questions about that in the winter especially.
Yeah.
So maybe that helped out some.
Yeah, people just aren't used to the tightness.
To the point where Anderson and Silverline both have a YouTube video explaining it. That's actually the best way. If people do call, I send them that video.
Yeah, we send it to Zach, and we'll post it in the show comments. I don't even know that we have that capability. I keep promising stuff like that, but I think Zach can get that out there for you guys.
Yeah.
If you're interested.
Just have them Google it.
Yeah, or Google it.
I mean, I can Google it.
Yeah, whatever.
I guess.
Whatever. Okay, closing thoughts.
Want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. Closing thoughts are, once again, Rochester Homes is out here to benefit the end users. So we are looking at past, present, and future components to go into the house to benefit you. And that's pretty much what we're covering today. Just kind of chatting about new, old, and current things. So hopefully it benefited you, the listener. Thanks.
Married life's good.
Married life is great. Love you, Chrissy.
I know you guys made it home safe from Vegas.
Yeah.
We're worried about you.
Yeah, we were a day late. So
That's weird. I wonder why.
once again, I love you, Chrissy. So
Tyler, closers?
I mean, not really.
How's engaged life?
Same old.
Getting excited for the wedding?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm just real excited.
I'm excited for your big wedding. It's really fun.
Bachelor party.
Yeah, a little NASCAR race.
go Kyle Busch.
All right. think that's all we have. The other thing I'll close with is, we're on Spreaker. Post your comments, thoughts, questions about the show. I know we have Judy from LaPorte who's posted some stuff. Thanks, Judy, for listening. And we will try to get. She wanted us to talk to an appraiser on the show, which I think is a great idea. So we'll see if we can line that up one time for you. Also, iTunes. I'm sure there's other ways to get to the show as well. So, listen in, share it if you would.